Hello everybody, Rob here in Bakersfield, heading home from work, driving the Mustang in the rain. We've had 2 days of rain off and on. I was really hoping to get to ride the motorcycle back and forth to work, but it don't look like it for this week anyways. So, welcome to this week's Throwback Thursday. Today's story I'm going to tell you about my short little time working undercover vice out of the downtown Central Division, busting prostitutes. It was back early in my career, right after I got out of the academy and finished my field training. They like to pull young officers in and have them go through a 1-month rotation through the vice department. That gives them some fresh faces to use out on the street. Also gives the officers some experience working undercover, and it lets you figure out whether or not you ever want to do that in your future. Myself, the month I spent working undercover vice, I did not like it, did not enjoy it at all. I mean, basically what it was is you went in dressed, in my case they had me dressed like a service station attendant a couple times. A few other times they had me dressed like a Navy sailor off on just come in on leave, and they'd take you up, drop you off out on the street there wherever the prostitutes were working, whatever part of town they happened to be, and they'd have you walk down the street, and you get contacted by the prostitutes. They'd basically ask you if you were looking for a date, which, meant did you want to have sex with them? And, you'd say, well, yeah, and, you get to talking and having a conversation with them. And you had to be careful with what you said, because you couldn't mention what sex act you wanted for how much money. You had to let them say that. Otherwise, the case would get thrown out for entrapment, so. The funny thing about it is, they pretty much all the time, whenever, they would ask you, what do you want? You say, well, what are you offering? First thing out of their mouths was, well, are you a cop? And I go, no, what, do I look like a cop? And, of course, we could lie about that. No law says you have to tell the truth that, you're a cop when you're working undercover. And, they would still wonder why, why you acting the way it was. Just this is the first time I've ever done anything like this before, I'm a little nervous. And they'd always buy that. Yeah. So I made quite a few arrests working undercover. You get all the elements of the crime taken care of, them offering you sex for a certain price, and go around the corner into an alley, usually hand over the money, and the undercover backup guys would get the signal, whatever it was, usually tipping your hat or rubbing the back of your head, whatever the signal might be for that particular day and time, and they'd swoop in and arrest her. Then you go on and do it again to none, and you'd arrest 3 or 4 at a time, and that'd be your day. Go back to the office, write up the reports, booking slips, get them transported out to Las Colinas Women's Facility, and you were done for the day. But they got me after my little stint working undercover with the vice detectives downtown. And I was working back uniform patrol, and I would make arrests for prostitution. Yeah, but of course that was a little more difficult. Then you had to kind of sit back, park the car, get out, walk up, hide in the shadows, overhear the conversation, wait for them to get in the actual act of doing it, and then walk them, arrest them, basically arrest the guy with his pants down and his junk in their hand, or you know, whatever what she was doing. You know, catch him in the act. Now, after that, I'd have to take, you know, get the bookie slip approved by the sergeant downtown, then drive out to Las Colinas Women's Facility to put them in jail. Well, along the way out there, that was quite a drive. I recall I used to take at least almost, I think 45 minutes to drive out there, drop them off. So during that time, they get to talking to them, and I talk, you know, off the record, because the arrest was already made, so I didn't need to question about the crime or anything like that. So we talk off the record about stuff, you know, what got them into prostitution, why didn't they get out of it, weren't they afraid to get beat up, robbed and raped, murdered, and catch diseases and stuff like that. And it was during that period of time when I had all them conversations with all those women, I started to have a little bit more empathy towards them, what they had to do to survive. So without a doubt, every one of them that I talked to that were talking, everyone was sexually molested as a teenager. Every one of them ran away from home. None of them had finished high school. And all ended up on the streets of San Diego, usually picked up by some nice guy at the Greyhound bus station that would offer them a place to stay for a couple of nights. Everything was all, you know, neat. You know, they'd party, drink, smoke a little pot, have fun, everything. After 3 or 4 days, you know, the guy'd beat the crap out of her and rape her. If that's the worst. If she was lucky, you know, the guy didn't do that. He just basically talked her into going out and turning tricks for money to help support their lifestyle. And they'd usually end up going from just drinking and smoking pot to popping pills and shooting up and snorting to be able to cope with the fact that they were having sex with strangers, anywhere from half dozen to a dozen in a day. And then you ask them, okay, well, how come they don't want to get out of it and do something else? Every one of them is because they didn't have the education to get a better job. It was the money. They could make as much money in one day doing prostitution as they could do working 1 week or 2 weeks at a regular full-time minimum wage job, which is basically all they could get. And a lot of them, all they could get would be part-time. So some of them, you know, they could make as much money in 1 or 2 days as it would take them a whole month to earn in a legitimate job. So that's why they didn't get out of it. They were already in that lifestyle, they were already using the drugs, and they were already making that money. And like anything else, you talk to an alcoholic, you know, it's hard for them to quit. You talk to somebody that smokes tobacco, addicted to the nicotine, it's hard to quit. Someone that's addicted to caffeine and coffee, hard to quit. But now, you know, they're a prostitute, hooked on the drugs, and they got to have that money to feed that drug habit. It's hard to quit. Another thing I can say is, never ever did I ever meet one girl who said she enjoyed being a prostitute. If they could find a way to have that same kind of money, that same income, and get out of the business, get off the drugs, they'd all do it. But there is no such thing. You know, that movie, was it with Julia Roberts and I think, what's his name? Richard Gere, I think it is. Pretty Woman or whatever. Where the rich guy comes along and falls in love with the prostitute and takes her out of that business and he's her sugar daddy. Well, that kind of crap only happens in the movies, for the most part. Of course, there are those like Anna Nicole Smith and that 80-year-old guy she married that kicked off him a heart attack and left her everything. But then again, I think she died from a drug overdose also. So even your so-called high-price, high-class call girls that work out of the strip joints, you know, they use drugs and have sex with strange guys and stuff, just same as the common everyday street whore. So anyways, that's my view on prostitution and how I worked undercover vice. It wasn't really a whole bunch of any particular stories about what occurred, because it's pretty much all the same thing, you know. Nothing dramatic like in the TV show or movies. It's actually quite boring, and I did not enjoy doing it. Never wanted to go back working undercover vice. I preferred working the streets, working patrol. Because that was where all the fun was at, all the action. You know, where you made the most impact on society. At least in my opinion. Okay, well, I am off the freeway and in traffic. I'm going to have to start paying attention to what the heck I'm doing. So I'm going to cut this off, say goodbye to everybody. Hope you all enjoyed my video. If you did, hit the like button, give me some comments, and I will see y'all next week. And oh, P.S., just one other thing. In my own personal opinion, the government ought to go ahead and legalize prostitution, license the girls, get them medical checkups, tax them, all that kind of stuff. Because they're going to do it anyways. So let's get them off the streets and in their house. I don't know. Maybe that'd work, maybe not. See y'all later. Bye-bye.